Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, good morning. Let's talk about why so many people are still bullish on Bitcoin. You would have thought by now everyone would have left and no one is bullish on Bitcoin, but that is not true. Let's talk about Bitcoin and let's talk about a little bit about SBF and FTX and how their spending spree was way more than people ever knew. So let's talk about that and other things that's going on in the world of crypto. So welcome, guys. Good morning. So take a look. Bitcoin is a little bit higher than yesterday, so that's good. We're above 16,000 once again. So that's good. That's good. Last night it was looking pretty bad. Genesis, still a lot of fears over whether or not they will make it, right? Whether or not DCG or Grayscale will make it. Well, today someone's like, yes, and I'm going to keep buying. But before that, I did want to give you guys an update on FTX. I did see a couple headline news. In fact, this is on the front page of CNBC right now. FTX has about 1.24 billion of cash in total, but still owes 3.1 billion. Here's the good news about that. That's way more than the new CEO thought he would find. He thought FTX had zero in cash. But the fact that they have 1.24 billion, that's good. And if they owe 3.1 billion, well, that's to the top 50 creditors. So if you add it up, it could be more. But let's say in best case scenario, they owe only about 3.1 billion and they have 1.24 billion. That's only about 2 billion whole, right? Less than 2 billion whole, which makes funding a lot easier to attain. And FTX does have a lot of businesses. They have over 100 around the world. So the chances of them making it somehow, okay, went from 0% to maybe 2%, 3% now. So maybe the books were just so bad. He didn't know what he would find. But as they're discovering, maybe they're going to find a little bit more and the situation isn't as bad. No, that doesn't excuse SBF or Carolina or anyone else for causing this disaster in the first place. But maybe they could somehow pull through. We'll see. We'll see. But in the meantime, this whole persona of SBF driving a Corolla around, being all frugal, wearing shoes that's falling apart. Well, you know where he was spending his money? In properties, which technically speaking is the smart move. But when you use clients' money to do so, that's where it's bad. So outside his $45 million mansion, it's been reported he's been buying mansions left and right, including mansions for his parents. So if you look at it, his parents received a $16.4 million vacation home, and there's 19 other properties, okay? Yeah, over 121 million. And he was trying to all convert it because he bought them, I guess, not an FTX name, but he was trying to convert them all into FTX so that it looks like they're like business properties, but they're not. So the guy has definitely been spending money. So I mean, he may be not buying the fanciest cars or fanciest shoes, but he's been buying. He's been buying a lot behind the scenes. But just want to give you guys perspective on what he's been doing. And we still have not heard word whether or not he's going to get extradited into the U.S. because there's a big hearing in December, whether or not he's going to be extradited and be facing, whoever, and have to answer for some of the stuff that he said or supposedly said FTX had or did and all this stuff. Who knows what's true and what's not anymore. We don't know. But despite all this, I told you guys, there are still a lot of people that believe in Bitcoin. There's a lot of people that believe in Bitcoin. Even Robert Kiyosaki was asked if he's still bullish despite the FTX fallout. And he, like everyone else really in this space, is saying, well, it's FTX. Bitcoin is not the same as Sam Bankman Fried, right? I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. Don't consider silver and a silver ETF the same thing. And Bitcoin is not the same as SBF. It's FTX. That's the problem, right? So, yes, SBF and FTX is not a Bitcoin problem. It's just they're just bad actors in this space. That's all. I'm still in favor of Bitcoin. I'm not against it, as many people in my genre and my age group are, because I think Bitcoin is solid. I'm actually more into blockchain, and I do own Ethereum. So he's not just a Bitcoin bull, actually Ethereum as well. And, all this fear about Grayscale maybe needing to sell Bitcoin because of Genesis lending. Well, you know what? You know who doesn't care? Cathie Wood, as she adds even more GBDC to ARK Invest ETF and buys more Coinbase. Because Coinbase did hit a new low, 50% low. I think it's like 50. No. Grayscale's around 50% discount level, but Coinbase is like at a 52-week low or pretty close to it. But Cathie Wood is like, nah, I don't care. I will keep buying because that's what I do. I DCA when things are low. So definitely a lot of people still not fazed at all by what's happening right now. Despite the fact Bitcoin hovering at 16,000, believers will continue to hodl and continue to move forward, right? And same thing with retail investors. I've been saying this, and many others have too. Long-term holders over 1 year reaches 67%. The holders are not going away. You don't see this drop off dramatically. You don't see this drop from 67% to like 50% or 40%. No. People that believe will continue to believe. And we will get past this. We will get past this contagion. We'll get past any future fallouts, collapses, contagions like we always have, right? So stay strong. Stay strong. Now, as for Genesis, right, Gemini says they're still working with Genesis to try to unlock users' funds, because Gemini did work with Genesis together to offer Gemini Earn, and they're trying to help them, open up withdrawals. I don't know what that means exactly. If Gemini themselves are paying somehow or covering users' crypto, I don't know what that actually means, but they're trying. They're trying. And we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? Hopefully Genesis doesn't lead to something else bigger, because DCG is massive, absolute massive. So we don't want to see that. All right. What else is there? Well, speaking of all these exchanges and whether or not they're going to do good, CMC did launch proof of reserve tracker for crypto exchanges. So I did see that. That's pretty good. If you go into exchanges and then you go into spot exchanges, first of all, like I've always said, when it comes to volume, no one is close to Binance. It's very, very, very noticeable. But you see these little check marks here, right? And then if you click into each one of these, they will have the proof of reserves listed. Now, not everyone has provided it, but for example, KuCoin right here, this is how much they have, 2.4 billion. And then you go to Bitfinex here, and they say they have 7.1 billion. How much of that is Leo tokens and others? See, right here. Like, this is why I don't trust Tether or iFinex or Bitfinex, because out of the 7.1, 2.4 is Leo, just a token they created for a sole purpose of fundraising to plug a gap in Tether. So that's no good. But anyways, others, have it in here. Huobi, Crypto.com, about 2.5 billion, right? So it's good that now we have one place that we could track all this. So that's pretty good. Whether or not I think they're based on Nascen's data, so it should be in real time. Okay, unless these are just like posted one time from one data sheet. That's not very helpful. But if it's updating real time, it could be helpful. All right, so that's what you could look at in case you're wondering. But I still question whether or not this is that useful, because just because you see how much assets they have, you don't know how much of that belongs to customers and whether or not there's a hole. You don't know that, right? Like Binance shows 0.6 billion, which is crazy. But, you know, is there a hole? Is there, did users deposit even more than that? You know, we don't know. We just know how much assets they hold. But 66 billion of worth of assets is insane. Yeah. Anyways, just want to show you guys that. What else is there? Well, there's still a lot of metrics. A lot of metrics that's showing this is probably the according to history, this would be the time to be buying. So if you look at the contagion right now, and we had a dip, but you look at all the previous cycles before, this is the optimal time to be buying, because this marks the low point, right before Bitcoin starts going higher, with the exception of the very first one, okay? But the second one, the third one, right? If you look at this is the point to be buying. There may still be up and downs, but on long-term scale, this is definitely the time to be buying, right? So I do agree with that. If something happens to Genesis and there is some kind of bankruptcy and it has more contagion coming out of it, then can Bitcoin go lower? Yes. I definitely think short term it could go lower. But if it doesn't happen and we just continue to trend along, right, and we slowly improve from here, it'll be the same as previous times where we slowly start recovering from bottom, and then we get near to the halving event, and then we start going upwards. This is the reason why Pantera Capital recently just purchased $140 million worth of Bitcoin. Same reason. Just looking at history, history's on your side when it comes to halving events and when Bitcoin starts appreciating. So think about that. And then a couple other things. Cardano did, or at least Cody on Cardano, they confirmed that their new stablecoin Djed is coming out in January 2023. They won't be alone, because there will be another stablecoin coming out officially from Emergo called USDA. I think it's USDA. But the Djed is also coming out. So in 2023, you're going to have multiple stablecoins to choose from, which could be good for Cardano overall, because it's going to boost up their DeFi ecosystem a little bit. So that's positive for Cardano. As for some market news, Elon says Twitter Blue relaunch is delayed because he's still worried about impersonations. And also, many people have suggested this from the early on. Like Michael Saylor has always suggested, hey, use different colors for different types of people or organizations. So now he's thinking about that one color and forcing everyone to get one check mark may not be enough. So there's that. So Elon is still trying to work out this Twitter fiasco right now with verification, with the subscription. And in the meantime, Tesla stock is getting hammered because of it. There's so many people I know that are so depressed now, not from Bitcoin, but from Tesla. And Tesla is still down today and still made a new low, all because of Twitter. Is it really worth it? We will see. Maybe long term, it definitely will be, but short term, there is some pain that comes with it. And then lastly, as for recession talk, everyone agrees Europe is going to get hit the hardest because of their ties to Russia and the war being in Europe, right? So if you are in Europe, buckle up, because it might be bumpy this winter and next year. It's already forecasted, like in UK, for example, the recession will be among the worst ever seen. GDP will be in the negative, so there's no growth at all. And inflation is still sky high at 11+%. That's just UK alone. Other countries are already over 12% inflation. And other countries that are really, really, really dependent on natural gas, they're trying to transition to nuclear and others ASAP. But there's going to be some transition time. So if you're in Europe, buckle up. That's all I could say. And in the US, we're going to get some Fed minute stuff coming out soon. From the last FOMC meeting in the U.S., we're going to get Fed minutes. I don't expect to have anything come out of it, any surprises. Last two that came out, no surprises, right? The market dumped because of somewhat of a hawkish stand from the Fed. But since inflation numbers have gotten better, people are feeling a little bit better overall. So we'll see. We'll see. Today, mixed market, NASDAQ tech is still selling off, but Dow and S&P is up a little bit. And Bitcoin is up a little bit too, 16.1. So that's good. That's good. Let's see if we can get back to where we were, 16.5, 16.6. Let's see. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up here. Today's Tuesday. This week I'm surprised. I mean, this week is lower volume. Also, keep in mind, guys, because it's Thanksgiving week, right? So there'll be less people out there trading. Volume should be lower, but usually when there's lower volume, there's more volatility. All right, I'm scrolling down here. Troy is saying something about a possible bank run by the end of Q1. Okay, FDIC only insures up to $250K. That's for personal accounts. If you have a joint account, it's up to $500K. Just to give you guys some accurate info. But Troy, why do you think there's going to be a bank run by end of Q1? Let's see here. Scrolling down. Let's see. What did I miss? HODL with Bitcoin in my ledger. That is good. That's very good. Twitter Blue is a garbage idea. He has to make money somehow from Twitter because all the advertisers have stopped, and all these lobbyists and people are calling for advertisers to get off of Twitter. So now the only revenue stream for Twitter will be those blue check marks. Why does it feel like Adam and Vet didn't have a fair shake? They're in my top 10. What do you mean they didn't have a fair shake? Like they never gone up in the top 10? Well, I understand why Vet didn't, because they were too concentrated on B2B and not enough on B2C. So they didn't have the same kind of FOMO, and people weren't locking up their Vet like these other coins because there was no liquidity pools. You know, staking rewards are relatively small for Vet too, and they're still small. So I can understand why Vet didn't move like the others, but they're changing that. As for Atom, they were on their way, but then they went backwards because Luna. They had close ties with Luna. Not that they had close ties. Luna had close ties to Atom, so that kind of set them back further. They were climbing the ranks, and I still think they will. Positivity. Happy Thanksgiving. Bottom is almost in, pretty close regardless. What's the reason behind this BTC pump? Should I short? Come on, don't ask questions like that. Would you like a channel theme song? I appreciate it, but no, not really. I don't need a theme song. I had an intro before too. I think I just like getting started right away without playing anything. Is Exodus wallet safe? People keep asking me the same thing. I was hacked before many years ago using Exodus wallet. That's because I had a recovery phrase that was emailed to me and a hacker gained access to my email. But regardless, you even with it, you're supposed to get in using username and password. And I believe they just brute forced in. So since then, it's been changed. So I can't tell you if they're 100% safe, but I can tell you I was hacked with it before. And some people have also told me they've been hacked before. Litecoin up to top 13 in coin market cap. Good for Litecoin. Still not better than Bitcoin. Have you checked out Dogecoin recently? They set up staking rewards. No, I have not. The only thing I really care about right now is whether or not Twitter is going to integrate Doge in some way. I think that's the only real use case that could be building for Dogecoin right now. It doesn't seem like Dogecoin community wants to support Dogecoin. I don't hear about it at all. It may end up that they do something with Doge, you know, like bring more use cases, you know, bring some staking dexes and stuff like that. But right now, it's all dependent on what Elon does with Doge. Your criticism of Litecoin is odd. Of course, it's not as good as Bitcoin. What is? Well, then why would you buy Litecoin? Litecoin is not like Ethereum and others. Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin. It's a copy of Bitcoin. It's silver to gold. So why would you buy it? I know people say, oh, you could use it to transfer between exchanges and stuff like that. It's cheap and it's fast. Well, there's stable coins. There's other things that you could do that could do those things, right? But if you're buying a store of value, you buy Bitcoin, right? You don't buy Litecoin as a store of value. You buy Bitcoin as a store of value. And Litecoin has been losing its strength versus Bitcoin for many, many, many years. Litecoin used to be in the top 5. It is now not. So, and Charlie Lee, even though he seems like a stand-up guy, he's lied many times in the past too. Will I lead the Santa rally this year by wearing a Santa cap? I could think about it. I could think about it. Hopefully it does something. How high am I? Not very, especially right now, 9:11 a.m. Do you think Matic will lead the next bull run? It's not going to lead, but it's going to do very well. Let's just say it's going to do very well. But you like Solana over Litecoin. Look at where Sol is now. Even where it is now, it's still higher than Litecoin. What's your argument? People forget how far Litecoin has fallen from 400 down to where it is. You can make fun of Solana all you want, but Solana is still stronger than Litecoin. I'm selling my house to go all in on Bitcoin. Well, I don't know if that's advisable, and I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but never invest more than what you can afford to lose. And if you're selling your house to buy Bitcoin, make sure that you have enough to still survive and live. That's the number one rule when it comes to investing. Don't invest more than what you could afford to lose. How about Phantom? I still believe in Phantom. Android Crony seems to be back, leading the way. And he's kind of known as like a DeFi godfather. He has created many projects. not perfect, but he's a very big DeFi guy. And he's the architect of Phantom's DeFi ecosystem, which is why they have so many projects. So that could be a very bullish thing in 2023. He's speaking at some conference in Miami in January. I don't know if he's going to announce anything for Phantom, but the fact that he's back is pretty positive. I don't know why he left in the first place. It's just... How's the diet coming? You look slim today. Well, thank you. No, it's good. It's good. Someone was really irritated by my thoughts on intermittent fasting. He was so irritated he had to write to me and try to correct me, which I already know about. But overall, I think it's going pretty well. George, I live in a hotel. I pay $100 a day, and I always think I could have had a lot more Bitcoin. What do you mean? You mean you sold your house and you're living in a hotel so that you could use that mortgage money to buy Bitcoin? Is that what you mean? I mean, some people have done that. There's that Bitcoin family from years ago that sold all of their belongings, their house, their car, everything, and then they bought Bitcoin with it. You know, and I think they're doing pretty well, but not that well because Bitcoin has come down. But at one point in time, they were doing very well. Yeah, so some people have done it. It could work out really well in the future, but you got to make sure that you know what you're doing. What's the difference between ETH, USDT, ETH, USD? They're just different trading pairs. One is using real fiat and one is using stablecoin. Whenever you trade on a DEX or a centralized exchange, you're trading between two pairs, right? Or you're trading between two different tokens within a pair, I should say. So you're either measuring against, say, something like Bitcoin, or you're being measured against a stablecoin like USDT or fiat if they offer fiat. So something like that. Steve, I appreciate it. Bless you and your family as well. I can't even buy a McValue meal, let alone a house, which is why we need more hopium and less FUD. I 100% agree. I think there should be more support in the crypto community. Everyone should stop bashing each other's coins or each other's bags, and everyone support each other. That's how we get through, you know, what we're going through. We got a lot of Wall Street guys shorting the hell out of crypto right now. You know, we got a lot of finger pointing. You got Bitcoin maxis pointing fingers at all coins now and saying, oh, look what you did to Bitcoin. There's a lot of finger pointing. Of course, you still have like guys like Solana pointing fingers at Cardano and vice versa. Excuse me. So we need to stop all the infighting. We need to come together and grow the community. That's what we need. With the exception of me bashing Litecoin and Ethereum Classic. So those are two exceptions. Do you think car manufacturers have any incentive to bring back production given they've been trying. They still have shortages. You know, now there's more COVID scare out of China, how they might stop production again. You know, like I don't know. It just seems like China's really over restrictive with COVID lockdowns. But car manufacturers love to produce more cars. They still can't get the chips. That's the main problem. And the next bull run, no one complains. Everyone's happy and making money. That's, well, of course. That's how it always is. Every every down cycle is usually when, you know, people get depressed and you know, the finger pointing starts happening. But in every bull cycle, people forget about those things, right? But then unfortunately, you have a lot of you know, you have a lot of greed that gets spread around, right? And that's where like companies like FTX and others take advantage, unfortunately, right? But yeah, with every bull run, there will be greedy actors. There'll be bad actors that get weeded out during the bad times, right? But for everyone else, what you want to do is stock up when things are low. That's how the big boys do it. That's how the big whales do it. The big institutions do it. All the famous investors, what do? They buy low when other people are fearful. That's what you got to do. I wonder if DCG is shorting. I don't think they're shorting. No. Yeah. They have enough assets. If they need to sell another asset to cover that 1 billion hole, they have enough. They have enough to do so. I'm still using a Brave browser. I mean, I think it's fine. I have not paid attention to his advertising features. I don't think anyone is, but you know, they have a lot of stuff built in now, like their browser and decks and stuff like that. Honestly, I haven't used them. I just used the browser, and you know, all the plugins are compatible with Chrome, so that's good. Overall, it's still a pretty good browser that a lot of people are using. Joseph, do you have a discount code for Ledger? There's no discount code, but right now, there's a Black Friday sale. They give you some free Bitcoins. Pretty significant amount if you buy a Ledger. So click into my affiliate link, and then you'll see it. It's a pretty good deal right now. It's like 20 or 30% off. Does seem like everything is going up today. That is positive. Let's see. Oh, XRP is up. Polygon is up. Yeah, Litecoin is up now. I guess this is the reason why we got all these Litecoin guys in the chat, all bullish on Litecoin again. Maybe that's the reason. Litecoin has been off the face of the earth for so long. DB Wood, have you been living under a rock for like a year? Anchor Protocol is done, man. It's been done. Terra collapsed. Have you been gone for like a year? I keep seeing you ask the same question. I thought you were trolling at first, but I think you're like serious. Throw that X up for the XRP army. You mean the people's currency? Where's that? Where's that X I have? Oh man, something's stuck to it. Okay, never mind. I can't show it. It's kind of all glued together. All right, guys. Yeah, things are coming up a little more. A little more. That's good. That's good. We'll see where today goes, what the rest of the week brings. But overall, guys, stay strong. Like I've said, we have one bad actor. We got to get past it. We have some Genesis fears still. I think that hasn't gone away, but we will see what DCG does, whether or not they do find a suitor to plug that billion-dollar hole or they just sell some assets. I do think they're still in a position where they can help themselves. But you know what? The Bitcoin bulls are not going away. They still believe, and more and more continue to DCA and dollar cost average, and that's fantastic. So don't give up, my friends. Stay strong. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.